Okay, welcome everyone to the lesson on the rise of Hitler. This is part one of the lesson. We'll be looking at how Hitler rise from a wannabe politician to chancellor. All right, to chancellor. And the second part would talk about how he rised from chancellor to Führer. All right, where he was a dictator. Okay, of Germany. Okay, for the first part, it would be good if we start off with a little bit of the context. Um, Germany, right, during the period when Hitler was rising up from a nobody, from a political wannabe to chancellor, just suffered from losing the Great War or World War One, and it was a humiliating loss. It was an unexpected loss as well because you know, Germany was still occupying, part of France. The war hasn't spread into Germany. It was sudden, and there was conspiracy theory going around that the Weimar government, which signed the armistice and later the TOV, basically betrayed the country. Okay, and that later, as you know, led to a lot of unhappiness about the Weimar government. The other thing would be Germany has transited not too long ago from monarchy, led by the Kaiser, to a democracy, okay? And therefore, democracy under the Weimar government is a new thing, and not everyone likes it. Uh, Germany would face economic problems later, and that would contribute to the rise of Hitler. You have the rise and fear of communism. You have communism being run in Russia, and Russia was interested in spreading communism. You have communists everywhere in Europe, and people, or at least a portion of the population, were afraid that the communists took over power, or take over power. Okay, and you have nationalism running around. People in general are still very proud of their country. They want to see their country great again, and that too contribute to the rise of Hitler. All right. The rise of Hitler, we can look at how it is a product. All right, it's a marriage of both favorable circumstances as well as Hitler's leadership ability. Favorable circumstances, that would be number one, the weakness with the Weimar government. The first reason for the weakness of the Weimar government is its structure itself. Okay, within the Reichstag, again, I will talk about what is the Reichstag later. You have proportional representation, and that means that the number of seats a party is based on percentage of votes he has gotten during the election. That means if you have a large number of parties and the votes are fragmented into and distributed across the different parties, then the seats in the Reichstag is distributed into those into various parts, right? Each held respectively by the various parties. So the main point is no single party gained total authority within the Reichstag to make decisions, and therefore the Weimar government is extremely incompetent, extremely slow, and incapable of making decisions to improve Germany, and that caused a lot of unhappiness. And people were looking out for someone who promised them to lead Germany by creating a strong central government. Okay, and you will know later that Hitler, okay, promised that, and therefore that makes him popular. What is the Reichstag? Well, the Reichstag is basically the government body that makes decision by passing laws through votes. It is filled by representatives that are voted in during the elections. Okay, so if you have a party that has a very large number of representatives able to control the Reichstag, and therefore the Reichstag will be able to vote and pass the decisions. However, if it's heavily fragmented, then the Reichstag would face gridlock, right, most of the time. Um, so, apart from the proportional representation, you have the problem of shifting coalition because no one could control the Reichstag based on votes, the number of seats. You have different parties, you know, joining other parties to form coalitions so that they can control the Reichstag. However, the coalitions are unstable, alright, they are not fixed, and therefore it shifts from time to time, and then again back to square one. There is gridlock, there is instability, the government is not able to make decisions. Okay, the other problem is it doesn't have a lot of support from the people. It doesn't have a lot of support from the right wing as well as the left wing. Doesn't have a lot of support from the people because they signed the TOV. The Weimar government signed the armistice to surrender, and then later the TOV, and therefore many of the leaders within the Weimar government are seen as the November criminals. To the ordinary Germans, they shouldn't be trusted. They are the one who betrayed Germany. Alright? And democracy wasn't really respected at the time because it was something new. And there was a lot of gridlock. People can't make decisions. The government can't make decisions. It doesn't solve problems. So people who are used to the old system, alright, the imperial government system, alright, you have members of the civil service, the judiciary, military, businesses. They wish for a return of a strong man, and therefore they would support someone who promised to be a strong man. You have the people from the right wing, right, who wants Hitler to go back to the past to have the strong man, kind of government again. And an example of it was the Kampfpush, right, in 1920, and then it caused a lot of disruption to people's life because sometimes the right wing and the left wing would commit violence to overthrow the government. Okay, left wing are people who want radical changes. One example with the communists, right? The communists want to create a communist government. An example of their action would be the Spartacist rebellion, and again, is an example of them using violence to topple the Weimar government. It causes disruption to the people. It frustrates the people. Okay, another problem with the Weimar government is the idea enshrined within the Article 48 of their law, the constitution, which makes it easy for the president to be a dictator under certain circumstances. Right, in times of emergency, the president is able to dissolve the Reichstag and rule by decree for 6 months. Okay. And what can the president do? He can deny personal freedom, residence, secrecy of correspondence, freedom of speech, so on and so forth. Okay, and that's something which Hitler would use to his advantage as he pushed from Chancellor to Führer. Hyperinflation, well, that's caused by an increased number of German paper mark, alright, German currency, okay, due to them printing more money to pay for reparations, alright. So as a result of that, okay, you have hyperinflation. Now, the other reason for the hyperinflation is you have the Ruhr over here, which is a part of Germany in which the resources from the Ruhr will be given to the victors of World War I, such as France. Okay, now when Germany refused to pay because they're unable to pay, and payment is expensive and painful, France invaded the Ruhr, and then therefore create even more unhappiness. So instead of the government solving the problem, the government actually encourages the workers in the Ruhr to stop working, and despite their unproductivity, they are still given salaries, alright? And that is salaries being created. I mean, being paid out of the government printing more money, and that also contributes to hyperinflation. And hyperinflation is painful because the value of money dropped. The value of people's savings, people's earnings drop, and that caused widespread poverty. You have the Great Depression as well, and that is the U.S. stock market crash in 1929. It has an impact on Germany because U.S. Purchased German goods, and that helped boost the economy. U.S. also provide loans for Germany to pay for their reparation. And when U.S. is hit by the Great Depression, all this stopped. The purchases of German goods stopped. German companies face the prospect of closing down. In fact, many of it closed down. There's unemployment. Loans to pay the reparation also stopped. And that caused severe economic problems in Germany. And people are disappointed that the Weimar government, which is highly fragmented, couldn't solve the problem. Now, so there's unhappiness everywhere, and people were looking out for a hero. Okay, and there is where Hitler came in. Okay, pretty conveniently. Okay, he promised a number of things, and the different things that he promised actually fit the worry, the concern of the people. Hyperinflation, among other things. Okay, the unfairness of the determination, demilitarization. These are things which the people hated, and Hitler promised to abolish the TOV. Okay, and that suit the people. That suit what they wanted. Nationalization of large businesses. That means the government will take over, if not protect large businesses. That prevent businesses from failing. That suit the people's concern, right? As a result. Concerns that came as a result of the weak economy. Increase old age pension, that would be a brilliant idea. That would be an attractive idea for people who are worried about hyperinflation. Establish a strong non-communist central government. You see, this would suit the concern of the people in regards to the weak, fragmented Weimar government. All right. Union of Germany and Austria. This suit the demand of the day because there was a push for Germany and Austria to merge, but that was denied by the TOV. This promise would make many Germans happy, and of course to bring more Germans into Germany, okay, under the rule of Germany, okay. That is linked to the perceived unfairness of self-determination in the Treaty of Versailles and would be attractive to many Germans. Okay, it would be useless if Hitler was unable to convey his message, alright? No matter how good his promises are, so what if no one is there to listen to him? And he was able to draw crowd to listen to him because he has charisma and he has very good oratorical skills, right? Many of it which he learned from observing actors and actresses in the theater. He practiced very hard in front of the mirror. He was able to draw people to his beer hall speeches and then make them convinced that he is their leader, okay, or he should be their leader. He also exploited the fear of communism, okay, and that attracted the attention of many big businesses because they're afraid that communism would overthrow private enterprise, okay, and that results in funding for the Nazi Party, which also helped them in propaganda and so on and so forth, which boost their appeal, help them boost their appeal. Lastly, he was able to set up and reorganize the Nazi Party to his advantage. He set up the SA to protect the Nazi Party from disruption from other parties. He set up the Hitler Youth, okay, to increase and secure memberships. He was able to use propaganda very wisely and eliminate potential opponents as seen in the Night of the Long Knives. As a result, you see Hitler rising up